And we're back here with Ktown Social Club once again. I'm here with
KTSC.
co-host, KTSC, Michael Won, the country's leading Korean American political commentator. And
hi, everybody.
We're joined by our guest today, Ed Choi.
Ed Choi.
You may know him from TikTok and Instagram, and his What in the Shibal Podcast.
What in the Shibal Podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
And his many reports and things on social media. So, Ed, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah.
Where are you
I see
coming?
you every day.
See him
On
every day?
Instagram. On Instagram.
Oh, you do
I
see his
every
Instagram.
day. Yeah.
Yeah. How was the drive from where you're coming from?
It wasn't bad.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like 15, 20 minutes.
Where do you live?
I'm like right above downtown, like
Oh, okay.
near like Mount Washington.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mount Washington. Hey, you know,
East LA.
we saw you on a Friday at the screening. There was a screening. There, director Lee Jin Young.
Director Lee Jin
Yeah,
Young.
there's
He
a
had
Hawaii Yonga,
called Songs of Hawaii.
Yeah.
Songs of Love from Hawaii.
Yeah.
And Ed was there,
Yeah.
along with Grace Yu.
Grace, you was there
David
too.
Kim was there.
Yeah.
Steve
Yeah.
Kang.
The
Who else?
usual suspects. were all
Even
there.
Kilograms was there.
Yeah.
Kilograms was there too.
Are we forgetting anyone?
Shinu was there. Our reporter.
Well, yeah,
Shinu
our
was
reporter,
there,
our people were there.
Yeah, David Kim.
Yeah. we
Steve
saw him.
Kang,
Yeah,
we
we
were
mentioned,
mentioned, and a lot of Kevin Kang, Dream Foundation founder.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Along with the director. Yeah.
And
Yes.
this documentary or film was basically, I guess, telling the story of some of the Koreans that had, Koreans first arrived in the U.S. and Hawaii in 1903. It's been 121 years, and I guess the film was made, telling some of the stories of Koreans then and their offspring. What was
Yeah.
the story about the grandmother with the brass bowl?
Yeah.
I think that hit
the rice
most,
bowl.
right?
Yeah.
That had the most impact. It seems like.
Yeah, because some of it, like especially that first part, was like a little bit more vague and general, but that specific story, it just really hits you in the gut.
Yeah, I think the individualized stories really
Yeah.
hit you there. The grandma story is the most powerful among all the stories, and also there was an individual named Kim Chun-seok.
The
who was-
leprosy,
leprosy, and he had to go to this island called Kalapupu. I don't know whether I'm
Yeah.
remembering it correctly.
Yeah.
And many of the Koreans were, I think, obviously discriminated against, and even though they didn't had leper, they were sometimes secluded there.
Yeah,
And
I didn't even know leprosy was a thing that recently. To be honest,
Yeah.
I thought it was like a biblical.
Oh yeah,
Like
in
disease.
Korea too. There's
Yeah.
a place called Sorokdo where a lot of those leprosy patients are
Oh, really?
living.
That's crazy.
Even
I didn't know
today?
that.
Even today.
Really?
Yeah, even today.
There's a leper colony in South Korea. Was it Sorokdo?
So actually, yeah.
Sorokdo?
Sorokdo, yeah.
Sorokdo.
Like currently in 2024, there's people with leprosy. I did not know that.
You mean? So I'm not a doctor. So if you ask like that,
Not a doctor.
but I bet
Not
there,
holding you
I
to
think
it, yeah,
what I
yeah.
understand is there are.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit, that's like way-
because even our colleague Bong, he married in an area where they have a lot of those patients.
Wow.
So
So it's
I did
way
not know
here.
that.
This is where the lepers live, according to Michael Won. Way down south, you see? Near kind of between Yosu and Wando. Anyway.
Are a lot of those islands occupied? I'm gonna sound really ignorant.
see,
I do
Yeah.
not
so
know anything.
I just did a quick Google check, and it says leprosy still exists today.
wow, that's wild.
So, according to the World Health Organization, approximately 208,000 people have leprosy
That's
in
a
the world.
around
lot.
the globe. Yeah.
That is a lot.
There's a little island off Jeju. See if you go south here. And it is, okay, this is the southernmost point of Korea. You see this here?
Where is that? That island.
Off Jeju. You see that?
Wow. Yeah, I do see it.
That's the
And
island.
there are people here. People go
That has
here.
leprosy.
So you can Google Street View and see what it's like. Yeah. Oh, wow. People are actually here. I'm guessing they specialize in seafood.
Yeah, I mean that's all they have.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah. But I don't know. I wonder if you can get a burger here. But I think people come here for like day tours or
Are
something.
you trying to find like Carl's Jr. or something?
No, like even a Korean-made burger or something.
I mean, I'm surprised they have any tourists.
yeah, I think people
I don't
go
know
to
too much about leprosy, but I'd be
Jeju.
scared. I'd be a little scared to go.
what is this?
Because of the it could be
Yeah,
contagious.
yeah. I mean, again, partially because I don't know much about it.
Yeah, they got jajang, jampong.
But the jampong's fresh though.
Yeah,
But among the stories, what was emotional too was the people who were healed from leprosy. Some of them decided to stay to take
Yeah,
care of their
yeah.
fellow patients, and that was kind of touching too. I mean, it cost. She said it cost her like $100,000 and in total took her 3 years to finish this movie. She only had budget enough to make it a 12-minute documentary in the beginning,
yeah.
but then she got additional grants on budget, and then that's how she increased other storylines
Right.
in the documentary.
It's wild how quickly that can just pile up the money, the
Yeah.
cost when making a film. Yeah.
Uh-huh. She used to be a reporter too, by the way. I mean, a media member. And
is that how you know her?
Oh, no. I knew her last year from this movie, actually, Songs of Hawaii. Yeah.
Yeah. So those of you watching, if you can, get a chance to watch Songs of Love from Hawaii, recommended
Yeah.
for you all.
Yeah, it's a lot of really good history, especially for, I think, Korean Americans. Growing up, we're not taught any of that history. So, like, you kind of almost start believing that idea that, like, we're just always an immigrant, not realizing that we do have such rich history, sad, but rich history in America.
Yeah.
Right.
So I hosted the event on Saturday and Sunday at LA CGV and then Buena Park CGV. And what I said was, we all know like the first United States president is George Washington, 16th president Abraham Lincoln, the current president Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But I think we don't really know that much about the Korean American history, and I think it's very important because if we don't remember it, nobody's going to remember it for us, right? So to individualize the story, like Imoksun Harmony, the grandmother Imoksun, that story, and also Kim Chun-seok, probably we should remember these individuals. Because I think she chose those individuals because she had the picture. She could find.
Yeah,
the
she had
pictures.
the
Yes.
she had the content, the
history.
pictures and everything. Yeah,
exactly. So
and we got to see the grandmother's grandson, and then I guess her great granddaughter or something. Anyway,
yeah, and
They still have that brass rice bowl.
yeah,
Yep, and
That's
they do.
crazy.
So I think it's that documentary. I mean, she doesn't even want to call it a documentary because she thinks documentary. If you say documentary, it gives a difficult. I mean, it's not easy to approach. So what she said was it's a music drama. I mean, she wanted to call it like a
musical.
musical drama. Yeah, I mean, not. I
Yeah.
think her.
It was like a very
her
artistic documentary, I feel like.
Yeah, and I mean, she said she wants the second generation, especially the second gen and the third gens, to watch that movie, which is an easy way to learn your history rather than read books, go through books or textbooks. I think this movie is an easier way to learn your roots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after the screening, there was a Q&A session with the director, and I know nobody was really asking questions at the beginning, but then you asked the first one to get the ball rolling. I asked the second one, and then Ed asked like the fourth or fifth time.
Yeah.
So we all did our part. But the question I asked her was, like, it was great to hear about these stories, but there's so many other stories. Do you plan on telling the other stories? And she said something interesting in that she wants to do more Songs of Love, like Songs of Love LA or Songs of Love Osaka, like all the Koreans around the world. And
Yeah.
The diaspora.
I do hope that, that would be like a nice like series, Songs of Love, all around the
I
world,
think
all
so
the
too.
Korean people.
Yeah.
It would actually almost be like a sequel because sounds like the majority of them came to Hawaii
Exactly.
first, and then they went to the mainland.
Yeah, and exactly. They went most of 60 to 70% of them moved to California. She
Yeah.
said. So I think California is probably the natural course where she's going. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
But anyway, yeah, everyone go check out Songs of
yeah,
Love.
please.
So now let's get to something that kind of blew up yesterday on social media, and it's about what's that rapist name? Wait, is he a rapist?
Seungri,
Big Bang.
the Big Bang, the K-pop band. In the 2000s, I think they were popular.
Before
in the 2000s.
BTS,
Before
there was
BTS,
a Big Bang.
Yeah.
That was
Bang
like 2010, right ish?
Yeah, Big Bang was huge even
I think they still are
in
a little
America.
bit.
In America, I know a lot of Caucasian kids and Hispanic kids were also being fans of Big Bang music.
But they're really regretting that name now.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
one
what's
of
the
the
deal?
member name is Seungri, and apparently he had a nightclub operating at a Gangnam area, Gangnam, which is a rich, affluent area in South Korea, Seoul. and the club name is Burning Sun. And obviously, I mean, according to reports, there were a lot of rapes happening there, that they would drug these girls. And also Seungri is involved in that. And also there's another K-pop singer. He's also super popular, but I forgot his name. He's a ballad singer. So it became controversial again because BBC,
British Broadcasting Corporation,
I would think. Yeah, they released a 1-hour documentary regarding this. So you have all the reporter who got the scoop, got the tip, and then wrote first about it, and other investigative reporters who started investigating this. It seems like Korean police are also very corrupt. You know, when you watch this documentary, it seems like they were in the cover-up and all that. And I didn't finish it. I got up to like 40-minute mark right before I came in.
How long is the documentary, though?
It's 1 hour.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know that back in the 80s and before that, Korean cops were like really notorious for being very, not good. But you thought that like with modernization and things like that and the progression that Korea has taken, that would have like disappeared.
Yeah, I know. I think,
but it didn't really hit me until the Itaewon thing. Remember the Itaewon crush?
Yeah,
that's when I was like, oh man, Korean cops really still are very corrupt.
I think that might be the case with this one because in one of in the middle of the documentary, you see one of the customers coming out and they beat the crap out of him. Like 20 people just beat the crap out of him, and the police came and they arrested the victim. It was kind of really odd. Yeah. So there were a lot of controversy regarding this. Even Yang Hyun-suk, who's a founder of YG Entertainment, they're all under the YG Entertainment umbrella, Big Bang and also Seungri. Even there were accusations that he was buying cops, to stop any kind of investigation upon YG.
So
wait, the founder, the one that used to be in Sotteji?
Yes, that one.
What?
He's a huge figure now, right?
Yeah.
In K-pop scene.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, so there's
but he's not directly linked to this rape case, though. Yeah.
Okay, but there's a big famous they were really famous before, and they were called Big Bang, and there's like 5 members, and one of the members, the famous members are like G-Dragon, Top.
Yeah.
Taeyong, and then and whatever. But one of them is Seungri, who's like
right. Taesung.
Taesung, right. And then the least popular guy is Seungri, right?
I think Seungri was the least popular guy.
Okay, and then this Seungri guy is kind of a scandalous dude, I guess, right? He's the one that owns like this club. He's the one that beats up people, rapes people or something, right?
It seems like he's the one, yes. There's nobody else involved in the Big Bang member. He is a name mentioned, Seungri, and then there was another, I don't know whether he's an YG artist, but Chung Junyoung. Do you know Chung Junyoung? And this scene, I think he's about to hit the girl.
So this is Seungri on the right, right? Is this at his club?
Force. It doesn't seem like a club. It seems like almost like an
Is someone taking this video like incognito, or is he just like so used to it that he doesn't care that it's being recorded?
I guess we'll see. Let's play this and see what Seungri's doing to this lady.
Video of Seungri with a woman at a party.
This is at a party.
Seungri's membership of one of the biggest K-pop groups, Big Bang.
She really doesn't want to go, right? If you look at
well, he's dragging her caveman style.
Yeah, and it's like in public.
Yeah, he don't give a shit. Our internet connection's pretty shitty here, so.
Yeah. So.
Some enormous influence.
He's drunk, right?
Yeah,
he's
that's
drunk.
sad.
Obviously, he's drunk. And I think there's a scene where, I don't know, I think Chung Junyoung was smoking marijuana. It looked like marijuana,
oh, really?
In that.
But there's like screenshots of some chats he had. This birthday party is crucial to spark things up for next year. So please everyone be aware that if you get in trouble, and what fuck, don't be nervous. That's Jung. Who's Jung?
Jung is the singer that was also. So they're both guilty, right? They were found guilty. Chung Junyoung.
Okay,
he's also a K-pop artist.
Here's another thing. It says Seungri says, "Who is it?" Kim says, hee hee.
Were they speaking in English?
No, I think they.
or is
This is translated.
Yeah, translate. This
And I'll take good care of them. Yeah, and the girls get ones that give it good.
Oh my god.
Kim says, I'm inviting low-grade girls for now. And then, she's completely passed out. Kim says, so what if she's out of it? Choi says, send me a clip of a girl that's alive. And then, what is this? I could film with the flash on because she was passed out. Haha, you raped her, LOL.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, that's disgusting.
that's crazy, huh? So,
I feel like uncomfortable just even reading that.
Yeah.
yeah.
And even in the movie, I think they talk about using what is that date rape drug?
Rufinol?
Yeah. That was also mentioned if you watch the documentary, and it seems like this was a habitual thing.
I mean,
has
for
been
them to
going
be
on.
that blatant about it, it's not the first time for sure.
Yeah.
Well, there was that Telegram room. What was that called? The nth?
The Mbombang.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do you know about that?
The
No.
Something
N-number
like,
room.
how many members were in there? Like 1 million or something?
I think so. Yeah, probably.
We're talking about a Telegram room with, it was hundreds of thousands at least of Korean men in there who they paid like a membership fee, didn't they? And they were watching like videos of girls that were like forced into like performing on camera, like Korean girls.
Oh my god.
Like that's crazy because when you look at the percentage of the South Korean male population it's kind of a,
Big portion.
it's an alarming,
It's an alarming portion.
I mean, now all of that 4B movement is kind of starting to make sense
Yeah.
But-
as a woman.
I mean, the 4B thing though,
I mean, I know there's like other
the
aspects
4B?
to that, but I mean, the reason why a lot of Korean women are like denouncing relationships and marriage. And,
oh, you mean these days?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
think
yeah.
because of these? Okay.
you know, and about the 4B thing, like the Koreans I actually talked to about it, they haven't even heard of it. It seems to be more well known in American
seems like so.
social
Yeah.
media.
yeah, it went really viral on TikTok for a little bit. People were like, "Oh, we're like idolizing these Korean guys, but did you know that Korean women do not want them?" It's for this for these reasons.
Yeah, but you know, just like what is it? Shit. Like remember the China's social credit system thing? Like
Yeah.
that became big news here.
Yeah.
And then I think Asian Boss or somebody went over to China. Was like, "What do you think about it?" And they were like, "I don't even know what you're doing. What is this?" They didn't even know about it. So anyway, the only people I've heard talk about the 4B thing so far are people here.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know about that, but yeah. So it's called the Room Case, criminal case involved blackmail, cyber sex trafficking, and the spread of sexually exploitative videos via Telegram for over about 2 years. And this guy Moon Hyung-wook, he was arrested, and they showed his face, right?
Moon Hyung-wook.
Wasn't that like the first time you got one of the few times you got to see like
I kind of think so.
a criminal's face, and he looked like a.
Oh my god, he looks like a child.
Wait, is that him?
I mean, they all seem to
It
be
is
that
him.
face.
He looks like a.
He literally looks like he's
like a
in.
junior high.
He could be an incel.
Yeah,
So,
of course he looks like that.
but anyway, how many people were in here? There was anyway, there was a bunch of people in here, and a lot of people were paying. Anyway, he was sentenced to 40 years in prison.
That's it.
Wait, that was Cho. Moon got 34 years. And
His nickname was God.
Yeah, seems like so.
Oh my god.
Maybe like what, Shin Shin? Or
Something like that. I don't. Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
Mbombang, didn't a lot of ordinary people got to see the content too? All the
Yeah, I think you had to pay or something like that. But yeah, that's what I mean. Is like a huge, like a alarmingly decent size of the Korean male population were
Did they
paying for
release
this.
those names? They should release those names because, like, remember the Ashley Madison scandal that happened here in America?
I know.
They should do that.
They did that, right? And you saw some pastors even committing suicide, and right those.
From this?
Oh, no.
From the
Ashley
From the
Madison?
Ashley
Yeah,
Madison,
yeah,
there were
yeah.
a lot of aftermath that came
Yep.
out afterwards. I
Now-
think the Netflix did a special, right?
I
It did a
just
documentary.
watched it this
How
morning.
was it?
It was
I
was like
didn't-
half paying attention, but it was kind of wild. Some of the families are like still together, and some of them are like, "Yeah, I did this," and you're like, "That's crazy."
Yeah, but you know, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
There was even that one like viral family that went viral. one of the things they did, they sang some like Frozen song in their car that went viral. And then, did you guys ever watch that video of that guy who surprised his wife that she was pregnant? I forget the exact video, but she said that she missed her period for a couple weeks, and then he saw that her urine was still in the toilet, so he bought like pregnancy tests and then like tested the urine, and it came out positive a couple times. So he like surprised her, and that went really viral because like whoever hears of that, you don't ever hear that. That's almost impossible, you know. And he was one of them, and he was in the documentary. He was like, "Yeah, I did it," which is crazy because they're like their whole shtick on YouTube is like they're this like Christian family.
So I saw it on the trending. It's like number 2 or something, right? On the Netflix.
Yeah.
You know, but I just watched like a couple minutes and then I decided not to. But yeah, I think the Burning Sun situation, what they did was, I think the club was getting really, really popular, so they started overcharging.
So Seungri had a club called Burning Sun.
Burning
right?
Sun,
yeah,
yes.
Okay.
And they started overcharging these special VIP guests because they were willing to pay, top dollars.
Top one.
Yeah, top one. And
To participate?
So I think later they were asking the club, hey, I pay this much amount. Isn't there kind of like special services or something like that? So according to the documentary, and then they came up with these secret rooms, and people would pay for those. And then they were serving these drunk girls or passed out girls. And one of the girls actually, she said she was just drinking 2 glasses of like whiskey. So she.
Yeah, drunk, but like not blackout drunk.
But they would pass out, and the next morning, she was lying down with a naked guy beside him. And
Seungri, didn't he go to prison already? But it was
I think he got out too.
I know, but it was only for like, I think he was only in prison for less than 2 years or something.
1 year, 1.5 year. That's what I understand.
And then
this is after sentencing.
After the sentence,
he was only in prison for less than a year.
1.5.
And then I read something like Yoon Sung-yeol was the prosecutor. Did you hear about that?
That I don't know.
Okay,
could be.
That might just be some Twitter bullshit, but then it's like
he had a party. He had a party when he came out.
Right, but the thing is, like, how did he only got that? But Chris Wu, the Canadian Chinese K-pop guy, he was in EXO for SM Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
China put him in prison for 13 years. He's still in there.
So he's still in there?
He was a part of this scandal?
So he was part of some other...
Is he one of the most popular members in
I saw
EXO?
up there.
Yeah, what did he do? He did... It was a sexual abuse conviction.
What the?
So multiple women and girls, some underage, while they were unconscious and under the influence of alcohol. Somebody stated she was raped while intoxicated at age 18, and she was speaking for at least 7 other victims, 2 of whom were minors at the time. So some of these K-pop dudes, they're like absolute predators.
It seems like
this stuff just like blows my mind. Like even with like P. Diddy, it's like
P. Diddy,
you are in a situation in a social climate where like you literally could probably just hook up with most of the women that you are interested in.
I know that's what I think too. I don't.
Yeah, I don't understand
just,
like the mental.
It's mind-boggling.
It
right?
is. It is.
But somehow
they get off on the power thing. I think.
I think they get off of the power thing, like the same way as like Vince McMahon. He would just literally shit on girls and like it, right?
Oh.
And you know that you don't know about that scandal.
So he shit on his employee's head,
and then
as a kink.
And then he wants the girls to rub it all in their face and stuff like that. So so I don't think it's a power thing. It seems like it's a power thing.
Power thing / like I think when you reach some area for some of these people, they probably are like, I can get away with anything, and they start pushing that. And that's just so weird.
And probably they get off of that. I'm pushing the envelope. Nobody can do what I'm doing.
That's crazy because if like I was up there, I'd be so scared to make any mistake to lose it all. Like you work so hard to get there.
I know. But it seems like, obviously, P. Diddy didn't think that way. Obviously, Seungri didn't think that way. I think even P. Diddy, the way he beat the crap out of Cassie, did you see that? CC camera?
Yeah, did you see his response? He was like, oh, I'm sorry, I feel ashamed. It's like, bro, we know that wasn't a one-time thing. Like, what is even happening
That is
right
a very habitual thing that he did, the way he just dragged her.
Yeah. Again,
she was trying to run away.
Yeah. And I know there wasn't like other people there, but like it's a hotel. There's obviously cameras. You're in public.
Exactly. He didn't even think about that. There's
That's what I mean.
there's this camera there.
No.
Circuit camera.
But that's what I'm saying. And that was even hidden. Like it wasn't leaked until this all happened. You know what I mean? So it's like.
So do you think there might be somebody who's more powerful than P. Diddy who wants him to fall down, who wants him to be the fall guy, so to speak?
No, I think once you reach an area where like the majority of the public knows, there's no stopping it.
Yeah. So P. Diddy, I mean, he seems to be the hip hop Jeffrey Epstein kind of.
That's what Doug said.
I think it's not just Doug. A lot of people are saying that, but
I mean, he wasn't even. Yeah, I mean, like like with this, it's like literal like sex trafficking.
It is sex trafficking.
It is sex trafficking. It's beyond rape at this point.
And and there's a lot of accusations that P. Diddy was doing this to male figures too, like male hip hop producers. So it seems like he went.
What was he doing to males?
Sexually groping them.
Yeah, there was this one that he supposedly took under his wing. There was this like up and coming producer that he was like, "Oh, come with me, help me produce my new album.
Exactly,
like travel with me." And then he would put him in like uncomfortable situations with like other. Who was the one actor that they named? Oh, Cuba Gooding Jr. Yeah. So like P. Diddy would introduce him to Cuba Gooding Jr. and then was like, "Oh, I'm gonna leave you guys to talk," and then Cuba Gooding Jr. then like groped him and like.
Wow. Okay. So Cuba Gooding Jr. was mentioned. Recently he was on the PBD, Patrick Bet-David podcast. Cuba Gooding Jr. His name has been mentioned a lot. Seems like Cuba Gooding Jr., the guy from Jerry Maguire who played the Rod Tidwell, the football wideout. Seems like he is a crazy animal too. What I've been hearing is in these entertainment party scenes, he would always get naked.
Yeah, that's such a red flag.
So you're saying that he groped the producer?
Yeah. There was
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, there was like some video of it too that was like released.
So there were some accusations against him too, right? A lot of girls.
I think some of it got eclipsed with the whole
PD
Diddy thing, but yeah, he was definitely being inappropriate for sure.
So this is not just a Korean thing; it's a United States thing. Anybody who gets to that level of power, like P. Diddy, isn't he considered one of the most richest entertainers?
Yeah, he's a billionaire,
right? He is, right, among hip hop scenes. So I think to them, it's like they have nowhere else to go, so they really get off on this power tripping.
That's crazy.
Just beat the crap out of Cassie.
Yeah,
man,
that's crazy.
He's not even arrested yet, right? He's not arrested.
He's not
even
arrested.
after all this video clip coming out.
Yeah, so I think 50 Cent maybe had accused him of being gay. I remember he said something like Puff Daddy wanted to take him shopping
and buy him some clothes.
Was weird.
Yeah, well, all of it's questionable now because I even remember growing up reading in some magazine about Usher saying that like when he was like 16, 17, he like lived in P. Diddy's house for like a summer or a year or something.
He lived there for a year.
And he specifically said he would like open doors and see orgies and stuff happening. And I remember at the time being like, wow, that's cool. And now I'm like, someone told me that you're going to take my 16-year-old son to someone's house for a year. I'd be like,
it's crazy.
No.
Yeah, and I don't know. It seems like they all saw these crazy things. Because Justin Bieber, wasn't he under the wing of P. Diddy too? P. Diddy,
I think for at least a little bit. Yeah. Or at least there's like videos of him wanting to hang out with Justin Bieber all the time.
When he was 16 years old, and then P. Diddy was saying he's going to have a wild time tonight, something like that.
Yeah, like that's weird.
So did P. Diddy order Tupac's murder or what?
I think he's being mentioned now.
Well, I mean, it was always questionable. Even after Cassie first came out, she and Kid Cudi were friends, and I think she like told him some stuff or like trusted in him, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, Kid Cudi's car blows up.
Really?
Yeah.
Diddy seems like he could kill, right?
I'm pretty sure he has.
Oh, so a lot of TikTokers, like two TikTokers, died out of the blue, who has been exposing P. Diddy stories. Did you know about that?
All of that. I'm just kidding.
Did you know that?
Hey, Diddy's innocent. He didn't do shit.
But no, that's crazy because there's some even claims. I forget if it was from that producer or not.
I think it was from that producer. I know what you were about to say. Yeah,
that P. Diddy was like being very loud and proud and bragging about the fact that he did kill Tupac.
Then he fucking did it.
And or Biggie too, I think actually.
And there was accusations that P. Diddy killed somebody. in front of his son.
Yes.
You know about that, right?
Yes, or with his son. It was in the bathroom. They went. I don't know if he died actually, but he definitely got shot. And then when the police came, they like didn't look in the bathroom. They like just believed this like drive-by shooting story. Yeah, so
Seems like he has a so I think there's a police angle here.
Definitely.
There's a police angle here. There's a police angle with this burning sun situation.
For sure.
Because there has been a lot of people have been reporting. The girl who got raped, she went straight to the police and said, I've been raped. And I think they first didn't believe her. The fans were all against these accusers too. They were all more on the side of Seungri initially.
It's no longer believe women.
Yeah.
Don't believe women now.
Also, there's also it is ironic that they call them idols because people literally idolize
They
them.
idolize
It
them.
is-
Yeah, the way they talk.
Yeah.
They're called idols. There's
Yeah.
something funny about it.
It is.
That's why I do find it kind of funny when, for example, in the West, we'll look at a country like, say, North Korea and be like, look at them, how they idolize their leaders. And I'm
But
like,
that's true,
is it
you're
better
right.
to idolize singers and dancers? Anyway.
Somebody said, I think Tucker Carlson said that North Korean people they're not being surveilled like Americans. That's what Tucker Carlson said. So, but we are all being surveilled by the cell phone.
But
Willingly.
And he was arguing that North Koreans have more freedom in that sense, like in
that
surveillance-free
sense, yeah.
sense.
well, it depends how you define freedom, I guess. Yeah, what is freedom? What is freedom?
Do any of us really know? Because are any of us really free?
That's what I started to question one day because, from birth, you were born here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were born here. I mean, not you.
No,
but
not me.
We were born here, so we know this is a free country. And then one day I started questioning, like, well, what does that mean? Free to what? And then what makes it so great? So it seems to be that the reason why freedom is great is because we can make our own choices and decide what we make of our lives, right?
I think, like America, there's like super obese people here, right? So it's like as much, like other nations, you don't see it. So that became like a symbol of freedom, so to speak.
Being
You can
obese?
just eat whatever you want, you can.
Abundance.
Abundance
Abundance equals
abundance. We have these, the hot dog eating contest, Oscar Mayer. Hot dog eating
Oscar
contest,
Mayer,
right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Isn't it Nathan's? But
Oh, is it Nathan's?
I don't
Nathan's.
know.
It is
Oscar
Nathan's.
Mayer might
right.
have their own.
And you have all these pornography, and
yeah.
all these idolizing pop music, Hollywood. It's
all a
it's
facade.
it's like anything goes. In a way.
Yeah. But it's just a facade. They give you some of that. Because in fact,
Exactly.
actually, you bring up pornography. There are politicians in America that are trying to make pornography illegal. They're using the
okay.
Christian stance to be like, this is
I don't think that's going to
bringing
happen
our
though,
country in.
because 18 plus, right? I mean, supposedly.
Yeah,
So-
I mean,
Yeah, but you don't have. There's no porn in China. I mean, porn is illegal in China and
Korea.
Both Koreas.
and Japan,
Um,
I think, right?
well, you just have to.
Or it's
in,
censored.
in Japan, apparently,
Apparently,
like Doug
they
mentioned,
just have to.
Censor it?
Don't they have to do the mosaic?
Apparently,
on the
you seem to
genitals?
know a lot.
Hey, you know more about the Japanese stuff than I do. This guy knows a lot more about
to be
Japan.
honest, I don't know about it, but I think Japan.
He's
There's
the
nothing wrong with
expert.
that.
I think in America's more free about all of those. I think
Yeah.
America is probably the most freest. I don't think even Europe is. I don't know.
I
don't
mean,
know.
UK, they're pretty.
Yeah, but all that freedom, is that good for us? Is that a good thing?
Or, I mean, is it even real freedom?
Yeah, like what is. Somebody once said, like, what good is freedom if at the end of the day you don't have a home or a meal?
Right.
Like,
But it's like,
It's
but
like-
I also feel like it's like fake freedom. It's like I let my dogs out in the backyard and they think they're free, but you're there in a fenced-in yard and they can't really go.
I think
anywhere.
there is a part where it is just a facade.
Yeah.
We think that we are free, but actually we're being very controlled and
Yeah.
surveilled.
okay, so maybe freedom is actually, it's all a myth. It's just propaganda. It doesn't really mean anything, and it's just something that's used to control us. Or
Well, that's the problem with capitalism, right? You're always going to have someone at top, someone with money. In fact, I watched this. There's a show called The 8 Show that just came out on Netflix.
Oh yeah, I saw.
Did you watch that?
No, it's a Korean show,
It's
right?
a Korean show.
It seemed like a very odd show.
It is,
yeah.
and it seems
So I wasn't ready to jump in
very
yet.
Squid Gamesy at first.
okay.
But basically, without giving away, spoilers or anything, but basically they find out that depending on what you randomly pick a floor when you come into this game, there's 8 people. And they don't realize that depending on what floor you're on, you make more money per minute. And somewhere along the line, this basically becomes a story about like hierarchy capitalism, the money system, and like how people with money have control over people who are the working class. And it's essential, and like that's kind of even in this like social experiment, that's how it plays out.
Wow.
The people with the money, they realize that they have money equals power. Oh, I don't care if we have to spend money to do this, but you do. So it looks like I have power over you. You know what I mean? And that's what happens. And I think that's what it is, regardless with freedom, when we have this society where there's just always going to be inequalities, and I feel like that leads to bad people.
It kind of symbolizes like crony capitalism, this show.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that a lot of the programs, television shows and films that are maybe criticizing or critiquing capitalism, a lot of them come from South Korea. Squid Game, this H show, Parasite
2.
and others. Even Bong said, Bong Joon-ho, the director, said he wanted to create a film that was something about Korea, but then he said, like, I realize we all live in the same country called capitalism. Yeah.
I always found media to be funny that way. I always felt like there were some people with some conscience trying to be like, hey guys, something's not okay here, like something needs to change. But I feel like what they need to make as a movie sometimes speaks more about the society, right?
Do you recommend this? I was thinking, should I watch it or not?
I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was. I thought it was interesting.
Kind of like a Squid Game-ish
kind of
thing,
it ends like it doesn't end sad, but I felt a little empty inside. When it's weird. It's a really
comedy
weird show.
thriller. They say it's a comedy thriller.
They say it's a comedy thriller, but it is really. It has like that same genre as Squid Games. That like weird kind of uncomfortable.
How was that Squid Game reality series? Did you see that one?
Yeah, I mean, I found it entertaining, but like you also know the reality of how, I don't know if abusive is the right word, but they like they weren't very great with like making sure people were okay. Kind of like the same things you heard about like Physical 100. Like it's a very entertaining show to watch.
So they didn't know what they were going through beforehand. What they
kind
were about
of
to.
Like for instance, that like that red light green light game.
Yeah.
In that show, apparently that took like 12 hours. Wow. It wasn't this like they made it look like it happened in like 5 minutes. No, it took like an hour. That's why that's why when I was watching it, that one girl who froze in that squatting position and then she falls over, I was like, wow, you really have weak legs. No, it's because she was in that squatting position for like 40 minutes before she fell over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So okay. Now
that's interesting.
Let's hey, can you guys show the 4 of us?
The 4 of us. Okay.
Yeah. I like
with our friend Rocco 1540. How do you like him so far?
Kilograms won that, or Daniel won it, but Santa Monica Pier, the carnival game things.
Oh, yeah.
They were like a thing on the bottles.
Yeah, the rings.
And then we got that. We didn't know what to do with it, so we just put it there. It's an accessory, or
the little emblem on its chest kind of makes it look like it's from Korea a little bit. No,
with the circular.
Yeah. Isn't that like typically like what the police police emblem in Korea?
This one?
Yeah.
They use a mugunghwa.
Mugunghwa. It's kind of like mugunghwa.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It feels a little Korean-y.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's probably made in China, but yeah. Okay.
So everybody would know that right now. Can you believe it? Like 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다.
No, because
everybody would know.
I mean, they all think it translates to red light, green light, though.
In the show, they're like, if you dubbed it, it would say green light, red light.
Oh, is that how it went?
Yeah, if you listen to the English part. But then, what's the actual translation? It's like the roses of Sharon have bloomed or blossomed or something.
Yeah.
Like, it's kinda,
what is it? A morning glory?
I thought it was Roses of Sharon.
I think it's Roses of Sharon.
Oh, is it?
I think that's what it is.
The Rose of Sharon, yeah.
I hate this now, by the way.
What?
When you type something in, Google's AI now tries to give you the answer. And I'm like, I don't want your answer.
Oh, okay.
I want the source.
Let me type, who is Ed Choi?
No, there's thousands of
Oh, you're a
us.
Toronto-based comedian and
Yep.
actor. You are?
Thank God for that guy.
You've changed. A lot.
You feel protected.
Oh, but
right?
you're
Yeah.
number 2 here.
I do feel protected.
Oh, finding a family, Ed Choi. Everything else is you,
Everything
though.
else is me,
Is
but
you.
I do find happiness in the fact that I'm not
Ed
the top
Choi
search.
is a pretty common name.
I
but
used
for
to
you
not
to be,
think it was, but it is.
Yeah, it is. But for you to be number 2 there,
There's
that's-
like at least 40 of us just in LA
Just-
alone, and I am so thankful
40.
for those 40.
Wow.
when
you know-
you say 40, the people who are kind of known level.
No. I mean, like, just like based off of like directories and stuff like that are people are like listed. I actually have to actively go in and remove myself from directories all the time. Yeah, I'm like,
Oh,
I
you
don't want to be
actually
listed.
do that.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Do you go to Google and just
You have to go to like each individual website and be like, take me off this list. Take me off this
request
list.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's
Hey,
what you did.
did you know Douglas's middle name is Lee?
I did not know
Look at
that.
this. Did you
Yeah,
know that?
That's odd.
Yeah, I call fake on that. There's no way.
There's no way his name's Lee.
Probably he put
Is he
his
still
mom's
at
name
EDC?
there.
Wait, should we call him? He's gonna talk forever.
Mop.
Okay.
Yeah, I
He's
mean,
gonna get into like Marxist theory or something. But yeah, we gotta find out if that's his real name.
Yeah.
Yeah, you met him once or
Yeah.
twice.
Mhm.
How was it at the dinner?
Yeah, it was good.
cool.
Actually, he was the person I talked to the most, actually, other than Henry was his name?
You mean
Hank.
no, not Hank. Fuck, what's his name? Harry.
Harry. Yes, okay. I was very close. If you're watching this, I'm sorry. It's been a while.
Was Douglas talking about communism to you, or
Or liberals.
Oh,
or-
actually, I think communism is what
was
started the
one of-
conversation before we even sat down.
before you?
It was like within the first minute of
He just
meeting him
went
while we were
right
standing up, before we even went in, before they were like, hey, we're opening up
Oh,
the lobby.
during the cocktail hour.
Yeah.
He's
By
just
the
like,
way-
hey, I'm a communist.
No,
I mean, how does
probably-
that
I
happen?
don't remember how it happened, but I do remember happening within 30 seconds of introducing
Probably his
ourselves.
opening line was, "What do you think about Karl Marx? What do you think about
Maybe,
Lenin?
maybe.
the Bolsheviks?"
Yeah.
In 1917,
You know
and
that
of
I-
course in
yeah,
1923, and then in 1939,
Yeah.
and of course Stalin, and then Trotsky, that fucking
Trotsky.
asshole.
Yeah, I really just found him to
There's
be
a
quite
narrative.
entertaining because sometimes, most of the time when he was talking, I was just sitting or standing there going,
Bemused?
how much of this is real?
Oh, yeah.
And how much of this is for show? You know what I mean?
Michael, I think you said that too, right?
Yeah, because he's so remember sometimes he's like, oh, I'm just acting, and then he's like, no, I'm for real. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And sometimes he makes those Jim Carrey-ish face sometimes. So sometimes it feels like he's joking around, or
But then it
Yeah.
doesn't, because then he says something and then he'll and you're like, oh, you really believe this. But that doesn't mean that everything he says he believes. Some of it still could be performative. I don't know.
Yeah,
okay, yeah. He is
I
an
thought he
actor,
was-
though. He
yeah.
was an actor.
and you talked to Harry too.
Yeah.
You know,
I really liked
you know
Harry.
who he is, right?
Yeah. He was
He was in Vice.
he was in Dave Cho's band.
Dave Cho.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Harry, right? Hitchhiking from that Harry.
So he's
Oh my
quite-
God, he had a
so
Vice
he's quite popular.
episode?
So he's quite well
No,
known.
they had a series. They were basically hitchhiking. Him and David Cho would be hitchhiking.
Oh, yeah. That was a show with
Are
Dave
you friends
Cho.
with
yeah.
David Cho?
No. I don't think he knows who I am.
That dude is a little bit crazy too, right?
Yeah.
The artist. I liked his performance in Beef.
Yeah, it was
Or
my
was he
least
ju- or was
favorite.
he
It
just-
wasn't horrible.
Or was he just playing himself?
That's what I said. I think he was just playing himself.
Yeah.
I think that's why it was tolerable, because I don't think he's a good actor.
Okay.
Anyway, we're about three quarters of the way through, so I wanted to end this with something that Ed covered on his social media, because Ed does a lot of reports. Like he covers serious things, soft things like the sriracha hot sauce drama there,
Yeah.
like what happened.
How
and all
often
that.
do you upload it on your Insta?
I try to do at least once a day,
Once a
but
day.
every day isn't sustainable. So there's like a couple days here and there,
Yeah, okay.
but
So when you do your like news report reels, I mean, how long does it take you to prepare that? Write everything and research, and then
it depends on the story. For like some easy, quick stuff, like there was this hit and run. Like sometimes that stuff is pretty quick, but
like the sriracha.
Actually, that one took a little bit longer because I had to read the
okay.
actual court documents, and you know how court documents
yeah,
go.
I know.
They are just
very wordy.
Yes,
Yeah.
very wordy, and they're not even like real English. They're like court English,
Court
you know. And you're like, what does this mean? Who is the participant again? You know.
You're like a straight up reporter or journalist. Huh?
I think I think they purposely make it that way so that
They do.
ordinary people can't know.
They do, but it's funny because they're like, we're simplifying this. We're not even going to use your names. And you're like, that makes it more confusing. But no, but a lot of times, like with the case of Young Yang, sometimes,
let's get in. Yeah,
I'm like researching for hours. Sometimes I research days, depending on like the victims, their stories,
Right.
or like how complicated things are. Because sometimes, I'm sure a lot of people recognize this, but sometimes just you have to read like 6 different articles from 6 different newspapers just to get the full story.
To get the full 360 vision.
Right.
And then
vision
sometimes
of
you're
it.
reading them, and then the details differ, and you're like, which one's right? You know what I mean? So then I
But
spend
usually,
time
the
trying
more
to be
detailed
accurate.
it is, it could be more accurate, right? The more detailed the article is.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to get into. So let me just start off with what I know as someone who hasn't really been paying attention to it, and then you guys can. So what I know is like recently in Koreatown, there was a 40-year-old Korean guy, and I guess he was living with his family or something, but then he was having some mental issues, and then the parents or somebody called LAPD to come and get him out or to the hospital or something, and then somehow he ends up dead.
Yeah.
The police shot and killed him. So do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think they didn't directly contact the police. They first contacted the mental health, LA County Mental Health Department. So their people came first. And then it was, I think, upon their decision to call the cops.
So LA County Mental Health arrived, and then they weren't able to do whatever, so they called the police. Is that what happened?
Somewhere along that. So Young Yang, he's 40 years old. He's half of a twin. He has schizophrenia. So his parents he's had schizophrenic episodes before. And typically what ends up happening is they call the mental health, like the Department of Mental Health hotline directly. They send someone over, and then they put him on what's called a 5150, which is a 72-hour hold where you can put someone in your family in a hospital for mental evaluation. Usually it's because they're about to be a harm to themselves or possibly to other people because of their mental health crisis.
Yeah, when you say 5150, I think about Van Halen album. That's what it's about, right? Okay.
It is. So that's typically what they do. This time, the guy, I believe, so he lives on his own. Like he's okay, and he was okay enough where he was able to live on his own. But that day, the night before, he felt something was off. So he went to his parents' house. And then his mental health started deteriorating instantly that night when he arrived at his parents' house. And he was like screaming at his parents and stuff. So just so the cops were not called for a noise violation, his parents decided, hey, we're just going to remove ourselves from the house. And hopefully if we're not here, he'll just fall asleep and maybe he'll wake up. You know, maybe the episode will be over. So they slept in their car that night.
Yeah, that's what
they woke up, they try to go back in, they realize he's still, having a mental health crisis. So his dad calls the Department of Mental Health. He arrives. In the cop video, the police footage, they blur out his face, but he sounds like a Korean guy.
Okay.
He sounds like he has a Korean accent, potentially. No, the mental health worker.
Oh, the mental health guy, okay.
So from what I understand, he went up with the father to try to talk to him and get him out of the house to, so he can go to the hospital.
So you watched this entirety of the video?
Yeah.
Okay.
So then so that part's not in it because the cops weren't there yet because it's cop footage, their body cams. And I believe he doesn't feel comfortable because at this point, he's not even recognizing his parents.
Okay.
So he tells them, you have to leave. I don't want you here. What I believe he says that he himself is either a god or a demon. If you don't leave, it's not going to be good. But it wasn't a direct threat. In fact, to the point when the cops come and they're asking him, they even ask him, they're like, oh, so he didn't actually directly threaten you. But that mental health worker called the cops and he was like, this guy is, quote, so violent, is what he said. So then the cops arrive. They break protocol because when you have a mental health crisis, you're supposed to lead.
Prior to that, he wasn't holding a knife.
No. So
what's the protocol?
So when protocol with mental health crisis is typically the mental health worker is supposed to be the first person with maybe one or two police officers behind them
Right.
as, backup just in case. However, because I believe the way he approached the mental health worker presented it, the police went in first. So they tried to get him to come out. And he literally says through the door, he says things
so
like...
they didn't keep the protocol when you have the mental health department worker supposed to be the first one there, not the police, because police can be a threatening figure.
Right. In fact, there's like a statistic that if like police are present during a mental health crisis, the likelihood of the person dying or getting injured goes up by like 50% or something. So either way, they first try to talk to him through the door, the police, without the mental health worker who's supposed to be qualified and trained for this. He's not doing it.
And you think that dude was a Korean?
He kind of sounded like he might have been.
You think, okay.
So Young, through the door, is telling them stuff like, I have been killed multiple times, and I'm not going to die again. And to that, the supervisor who initially knocks on the door, talks to him, responds with, your parents want help. Do you understand that? It's like, what do you mean, do you understand that? This guy just said he died multiple times, which doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
So they go back, they come back up after like however, I think they like wait for an ambulance to arrive just in case. And then they go back up and then they breach the door. It's at this point, like I think the dad gave him the keys, which again should not be the protocol. You need someone like this person's on a ledge, essentially. He's hallucinating because he's, having a schizophrenic episode. He needs to be talked down off the ledge, not forced into.
But when cops get into the picture, that's not the case usually.
But the thing is before they go up, the supervisor is talking with them and even says to someone, which one of you is going to be the less lethal officer? As in, like, who's going to be the one with the taser gun and things like that. They open the door. Young, based off of the cop's body cam footage, it does seem like he is holding a kitchen knife. However... And it's funny because the cops highlight this part in the video. They circle it, they freeze frame it, they edit the photo so it's like more visible to see. The part where you could possibly see a knife. But the thing is, in that same exact instance, he's also holding out his other hand out, as if he's saying, "Hey, stop." Yeah. It's
let's see. Yeah, this scene, right?
Yeah. And
his right hand, he's holding it up, right?
And you can see on his face that he's confused. And it literally was obvious that he was holding up his hand, trying to close the door. You know what I mean? He's confused. He's seeing stuff. He doesn't understand what's going on. For all we know, he's seeing people as like demons or not humans at this point. But even then, so like he's fearful, right? And you can see in his body language that he's scared. His face is scared. He's confused. And the police say that he lunged at him with a knife, but he's clearly taking 2 very slow steps forward. And I don't think it was to injure the cops. I think he was trying to recreate the barrier that was between them by closing the door.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is that like no one was holding a taser. Why are you shooting a gun? And also like just as an overall whole picture, when you're approaching someone who's having a mental health crisis and they're saying that they're very violent, why are we not using tactics like a riot shield and tasers?
That's also a good idea.
You know what I mean? Because like... a knife and a plexiglass shield.
Is a riot shield bulletproof, though?
They're supposed to be. They're at the very least knife proof.
I think if this happened in Korea, there would not be anybody.
No, if this happened anywhere else where guns aren't just not rampant.
But it seems like they were like following they weren't following the protocol, but many people thought we did, but we didn't know that
that's
you were
what I mean.
supposed to have the Department of Health worker in front, but they didn't do it that way.
They didn't do it that way. In fact, just this year, Los Angeles County allocated $9 million to a program for mental health professionals to avoid stuff like this.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
That's why I thought they were emphasizing after the George Floyd incident. But we know that the bureaucrats here in LA County and the city, they waste a whole bunch of money.
They do.
Like they spend $830,000 to make a 1-unit shelter. So
And I'm not
money's
like
all wasted. We can see the wasted money right in front of us.
And I'm not like a psychologist expert or anything like that, but I just feel like the cops always have this us versus them mentality. They're not there to serve the public and protect the public like their logos always are. I think whatever through their work, they get jaded and they always have this like, if it's not me, it's them. Or if it's not them, it's going to be me that gets injured. You know what I mean? And
so what's going to happen? They fucking broke protocol. They fucking killed a guy who's having a mental health crisis. Like, what the fuck? Like, what's going to happen now?
I don't think the mainstream media is even mentioning about the breaking protocol.
Is the Korean media,
Yours,
is the Korean American media reporting this properly?
That
or
part
are we
I don't
fucking
know.
up?
That part I don't know, but mostly I think in the Korean media, I think the talking has been shifting.
Yeah.
You know
think,
that too, right? It's been shifted because he was holding a knife and he was approaching. And I talked with one lawyer, and the lawyer said, if somebody approaches, it seems like that's a protocol that the cops do.
But that's another question.
Yeah,
like,
so know.
The immunity that cops have, like, I don't think that should be a thing either, But the cops are spinning this in a way they're like freeze framing and showing these things to direct people away. But in the same video, there's multiple instances where they talk about protocol that they do not take. And then there's even multiple instances where the supervisor and the police officer, it seems like they either don't understand or they don't believe in schizophrenia. Because how are you going to have a conversation with someone? Because like he says, they're like, hey, your parents are worried about you. Do you understand that? And he goes, I know for a fact my parents aren't worried. And then he even says, in this place, he's like, I found myself in this new place. It's your parents' apartment where they've lived for over, I think, 2 decades.
Yeah, so the dad regretted calling the Department of Health people from the first place. He said he shouldn't have called in the first place.
Yeah.
That's what...
Are cops typically that stupid?
Yes.
Are they that fucking dumb?
Yeah. They are.
I mean, so Korean media has or has not been reporting that the police broke protocol.
That part I gotta check. I gotta check that one. But you didn't see a lot of that part. Where did you get that protocol about the Department of Health worker situation? Did you not from the Times though?
Not from the Times. I think it was from the Department of Mental Health website for LA County.
And he had apparently he had drugs. So
he does. He does have a history of drugs, which
it was found. Right?
It does happen with it does, agitate people with schizophrenia.
So why was?
But neither of those things are something that should be a death sentence.
Yeah,
of course, obviously.
Just like they say, oh well, George Floyd paid with a fake 20. So what? He should be executed,
right?
Like in that manner,
right?
Like that was necessary.
But I was talking, with a lot of Koreans afterwards, but they were all on the side of Yang Yong, like 100%. But after this, I think,
why?
They were kind of understanding because he was approaching and holding a knife. He should have let go of the knife. And I think that protocol.
You're going to tell a mentally ill person who thinks he's been killed a bunch of times that he should have put the knife down and that the police should not have followed protocol? So these fucking Koreans are stupid.
The police protocol, I don't know their exact protocol, but it seems like it's very tight and rigid. They don't seem to change that much.
No.
Obviously.
So what's Dominic Choi going to do? Nothing, right?
He's a Korean national, right?
He's going to be the what? The Obama of the LAPD.
Obama of what?
He's the Obama of the LAPD. That's it.
Yeah, so Young had just turned 40 a month before. He has a twin brother. You
talked with his brother, by the way. What did he say? Can you kind of
the biggest takeaway from him was that he said this is he feels like he's in a nightmare that's never ending.
Okay.
Because his family, they immigrated when they were 10 months old. He grew up here.
What I understand is this is what I heard from a lawyer. He said that the parents, Yang Yong's parents, said that their son is a threat to them. That part, I don't know. That's what the lawyer said.
Whose lawyer?
So, the lawyer that I talked with, that was going into detail legally, where does this situation stands, and
what's his involvement with
them? I'm not. Obviously not directly.
Oh, just
involved.
like a general lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think his parents...
Was it reported that way, that he's a threat to his parents?
No, he never said that. They never said that. In fact, they voluntarily slept in their car that night before, only because they know what happens when the police arrive, and they were scared the police were going to be called for noise violation because Young was screaming in their house.
So your attorney got it wrong.
On the LA Times, it says the officers also warned the father that they might be forced to put their hands on his son to remove him from the apartment. The video shows, yeah, I understand. The father responded. That was a Times article.
So there is also this one slight discrepancy. So the article, and actually not the article, in the cop video that they released, they show him immediately, and it's wild because at this point, immediately after they shoot someone, after they shot Young, I mean, he was pale. He looked green. And like his fists are like clamped up, and
I saw that. Yeah, he looked pale.
They're
exactly.
arresting him. So, but in that video, the cops that they released the footage, they claim that the EMTs went up and looked at him right away. Young's brother told me that that the ambulance was called, but that ambulance worker did not go up with a gurney. In fact, I believe it was the firefighters that looked at him. And then they didn't tell the family that Young died until 2 hours after, didn't let them up in the house for 8 hours. And I think to this day, they have not seen Young's body. It happened on the 2nd, so it's been 18 days now.
So common sense would tell us, why not use a taser to avoid these kind of fatal situations?
Yeah, but this happens every day.
It does.
But what I heard was tasers are not effective sometimes. Sometimes the suspects go through all that.
For people who are having an adrenaline rush, they can definitely work through a taser, but I don't think that they should have not used the taser first. And again, if you're that scared, then why isn't there a riot? Or why isn't there a riot shield right next to them just in case?
I know. I think
a lot of them they want to get their chance to shoot.
I think they do.
I think the protocols are really. It's very questionable. Even regarding the George Floyd situation, the protocol, they said they follow the protocol.
Yeah.
When they pull up that protocol card up, it's hard.
Yeah,
they
but
said they were following
a lot of room for interpretation in the protocols too. You know.
Yeah.
There was a similar case, I think 2014 or something, in LAPD shot a woman who was carrying a knife. Norma Guzman was her name, and I saw the video, and she's out of it, and she's coming towards them, but she's just like walking, and they shot her dead too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. In this video, I think it's very obvious. He did lunging is a wild word to use because he took one or two steps.
When
I
saw that video, I felt the cop police overreacted.
Fucking
but
murdered
then
him.
These many lawyers that I talked with, they were saying that it's just protocol. But I think it's a worker situation protocol when the Department of Health worker was supposed to be the front person there. Then they broke the protocol. So this could be a legal situation, you think?
I mean, hopefully for the family at the least, it's not going to bring their son and their brother back.
Yeah.
But at least it's
to further prevent these kind of situations.
Yeah, because even in New York, something similar happened. This 19-year-old Bengali kid was also having, I think, a schizophrenic episode, and the cops shot him and killed him too. And you could tell he was really out of it, but he didn't look as scared as Young did. But in that instance, his mom, who was 5'2" looking, and his younger brother, 17-year-old brother, who looks like he maybe weighs 100 pounds soaking wet, were able to hold him back against two grown adult police officers who've been on the force. I think one was for 15 years and the other was on the force for 9 years. But even in the case of they could have just in that case, they could have just, while the mom and brother were subduing him, they could have just walked out the front door. Same thing here. That police officer could have easily closed the door. He could have, you don't have a riot shield? Close the door.
Why shoot?
Right. Why shoot? And even his dad, the day that it happened, when the ABC, I think, or whoever interviewed him, he was like, why not shoot him once? He's like, why did you have to shoot him 4 times? Again, he wasn't even lunging.
They shot him 4 times.
They shot him 4 times.
Yeah, it was kind of,
So are there going to be protests? What's going on? Because they fucking murdered a mentally ill Korean dude. That's what they did. They fucking shot him dead. They shot a fucking guy who was having a crisis. Yeah. They fucking shot him dead because they were fucking incompetent and didn't follow protocol. They're fucking murderers.
I wish there were protests, but that's, I think, the biggest hurdle that we have as an Asian community is that we were indoctrinated into this keep your head down, just you know what I mean? Don't create any waves thing. And I'm not sure what it is, but
It's like, the Eric Garner in Baltimore, was it New York? Eric Garner, the way they choked him to death. And when we see that, that's police brutality right there. It's very hard, even though you might be like pro-police, that's a very hard thing to defend. And
who the fuck can be pro-police anymore?
Whenever they call police like this situation, I think death can happen. I think people just have to know, this can happen.
Well, that's the wild thing is that
once
9 million.
Once you report but our initial reaction is whenever there's a situation, we call who? The police. Yeah. So I think we should probably think twice.
And I mean, a lot of people hear like defund the police and they think like, oh, what are we going to do with that? No one's saying get rid of the police, but like they shouldn't be the ones called for all of these situations because clearly mental health cases, most of it, if the police are called, result in death. And like that $9 million program that LA has specifically on their website.
I know, that is crazy. It says that money is wasted. Look at that.
No, but in their website alone, it says that this new program is supposed to teach and train the mental health professionals to deal with including violent people.
Including violent people. So people are like, a lot of people are like, oh no, but he was being violent. And it was like, I don't care. Their website literally says they're supposed to be trained to deal with violent people. Yeah, so there's a nonprofit organizations, Asian Mental Health Project. They're doing some kind of
they had a vigil yesterday.
Vigil. Yeah, they had vigil.
We need to fucking show our anger.
Yeah, I just I feel like this story needs more visibility because I think the cops are doing what cops do. They sweep things under the rug. They twist the story.
A lot of the mental patient being dead.
We gotta.
It's 16 times higher than regular
that's ridiculous.
Folks.
And the Korean community is generally very pro-cop. We need to get rid of that.
I don't even understand why. Every Korean person knows how corrupt cops can be from living in Korea.
Well, it's not like the Koreans during the rooftop Korean, when they were fighting during the LA riots. We were not protecting them either. We treated them like gangsters. Right?
Yeah.
So we got to choose which side.
What do you mean? What do you mean treating who like
the rooftop Koreans? What about were they heralded as heroes? They were not. So we have to make them heroes or something. We have to have our own. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, got it.
We're not gonna. I think we just need more representation in our government. I don't know that's going to make a huge indent, but I think that's a step forward.
But this was not the first situation too. They have been reported to
cops. No, it happens all the time.
Right? I mean, I'm talking about Yangyong.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The cops were informed. They knew who Yangyong was, obviously.
Look, they murdered somebody. That's it.
Yeah, I know.
Simple as that. There's no discussion. It's not, the police were just, fuck that.
The protocol.
They fucking murdered a fucking Korean guy.
So what do you think we should do about the protocols then? They always talk about this protocol thing and they get off because of that protocol. But this legal situation with the worker situation, which wasn't known about the mental health, so I think that's a legal thing that they
First step though is we got to get Korean Americans to stop supporting the police. Korean Americans need to stop kissing LAPD ass, stop kissing the police's ass. They don't give a fuck about us. During the fucking riots, they let Koreatown burn. They arrested the fucking Koreans who were trying to protect Koreatown, and now they're fucking killing Koreans. We don't have to support the police. Korean people should not support the police.
I always feel a little bit of disgust when I see a Korean LAPD officer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm always like,
I hate you. So do you get angry when you see Dominic Choi being the interim LAPD chief?
Yeah.
You do.
Okay. We gotta
we already went over. Okay. Well, it's a very tragic situation, but it seems like these situations would not have happened in South Korea. But
fuck the police.
Oh, man,
say it.
I don't want to.
Why can't you say it?
I hate
fuck the police, man.
Yeah.
I know that's been your. But there are good ones too, man.
We're not talking about the good ones. We're talking about the institution.
I think this
the police institution.
Are there good ones? Because if you're not the ones killing someone, you're at least covering for them.
No, because I know certain police officers who care about the community when you talk to them one-on-one. But there are the systemic situation and the protocol. I think it's very questionable. It is.
Yeah.
When we see this, it's so tragic. The family, they have to deal with it, and his half brother too, as well as you.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
So. Okay. All right. Well, I'm really angry now, but thanks Ed for your story, for your report.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you were able to do this and spread the truth and all that. So
Yeah, well, thank you
for your efforts for the
There should
community.
be protest.
Thank you
right?
for having me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
there should be some protest.
I wish. Yeah.
I hope you'll come back. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, hour went by really fast, to be honest with you.
You want to be
It
like a
did.
regular
It really
or what?
did.
You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, great, Ed. That's great.
All right. Thanks to Ed for
Uh-huh.
coming in. Hopefully he's got another great report for us next time, or just talk some regular
Yeah.
shit. And
Yeah,
Regular
yeah.
shit works too. I'm pretty
Uh-huh.
good with regular shit.
That's
I'm a
what you
pretty
cover
regular
a lot about,
guy.
you know. But I mean, we never seen like this kind of like a
Yeah.
mental Korean
Right.
mental health patient, you know, going through this tragedy. The family is really mourning, and our thoughts are with them, you know, and our prayer.
yeah,
there
my
should be some kind of
condolences
situations.
to
Definitely.
the family and
Resolved.
everyone involved.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but no one was at fault here except for the police. Just want to make that very, especially
And also the worker.
especially
Obviously, the
family-
worker,
Yo,
they didn't follow
definitely.
protocol either.
Yep.
The social worker.
Okay. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll try to be back next time with something more fun or positive and whatever.
You have to believe it first.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.